Very warm welcome. This is the 40th meeting of Personal Growth Leaders Advanced Toastmasters International Online Club. We are meeting every Saturday, 2 p.m. GMT +1. Tomorrow, the time is going to change in UK and Ireland. It will go back by 1 hour. That would mean that from the next meeting, it will be GMT time. It won't be GMT +1. So please do make a note of that. And with that, I would like to hand over the meeting to the Toastmaster of this meeting, Anvita Hegre. Huge round of applause.
Thank you. Do I have the sharing access, Somesh? I have it. Okay, thank you. Good day, Toastmasters. What is an illusion? Illusion is a distortion of our senses. It can also reveal how our brain normally organizes as well as interprets sensory information. Illusion distorts our perception of reality. Most of the times, the story which our brain tells us matches that of real physical world, but not always. Sometimes it bends our perception of reality to match our expectations. It fills the gap by using our past experiences. Let us look at some of the commonly occurring illusions today. I'll share my screen. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible. Okay. What is the color of tile B? Would anyone like to answer?
I see gray.
It's a lighter shade of gray or darker shade of gray?
Light.
Yes, that is an illusion. This is called as the classic checker shadow illusion. If squares A and B are placed side by side, they look exactly the same, which is a darker shade of gray. However, when square B is cast in an apparent shadow and surrounded by darker tiles, it appears lighter. This is just an illusion. The story of the apparent lighting of square B is just a story told to us by our brains. Why does this happen? It occurs because our sensory systems are very slow. When light reaches our retina, which is located at the back of our eyeball, it is translated into electrical signals. Then the electrical signals move to the visual processing unit at the back of our brain, which then transfers it throughout the brain, creating what we can see and also forming a perception. It is because of this slow system that we see illusions. Let us look at some more illusions. What is the color of this dress?
White and gold.
Again, that is an illusion. The original color of this dress is blue and black. Few years ago, this pic had gone viral. People were debating the color of the dress. If you can see it as white and gold, it is because your brain is using a different filtering mechanism. Sometimes our brain unconsciously filters out the color of light we think is falling on an object, and then we judge its color, which most often is wrong. There is another similar pic. What do you think is the color of these shoes? You're on mute.
Look like pink. Very pale color, pink.
Whoever said it as pink, you're absolutely right. You're not seeing the illusion. The color is pink, but unfortunately, I can see it as gray and green. It's because of the different filtering mechanism my brain uses. Which animal is present in this picture? Anyone?
Is it a rabbit?
Again, that is an illusion. It's an ambiguous picture of a horse and a seal. Researchers divided the respondents into two groups. Group 1 was told to find the seal in the image. Group 2 was told to find the horse in the image. They were told that they'll get a prize if they find their respective animals. This is called as the illusion of consequence. That is, group 1 actually did see the seal first and group 2 did see the horse first. Our brain sees what it wants to see. Can anyone see a triangle in this image?
Two
Two
triangles.
Okay, there is actually only one triangle in this image. The white one is called as the Kaniza triangle, which is an illusion. The Pac-Man shapes gives the impression of a triangle. We see a triangle because we are used to seeing a triangle. The researchers asked a blind man with restored vision whether he can see a triangle, two triangles there. He told no, he could see only one because he was not used to seeing images such as this. He was not used to seeing triangles. Are the lines parallel or straight? Can maybe enlarge it. Anyone?
They don't look straight, but
They don't look straight. They
some
are
of the-
straight.
They are.
Yeah. There
It's
we
an
go.
illusion. This is also a similar type of illusion. They don't look straight, but they are straight. This is called as the out of focus illusion. If you see the circle here with concentration without blinking, you can see it in a jittery way. That is, you'll feel as if it is shaking, isn't it?
Moving.
Yeah, that's another illusion. For this illusion, you need to be at a certain distance. If you're too far away or if you're too near, then you cannot see the illusion. Are the two images same? That is the shape of the circles of the two images. Is it same? No? Yeah, that is another illusion. We see it differently because of shape from shading image. If you see the shading of the circles are different. That is why the shape appears different inside the box. However, it is actually same. This is called as a spinning wheel illusion. If you look at this image with concentration without blinking, you will see it spinning around in either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Again, that is an illusion. It is called as the wagon wheel illusion, where the image appears to be rotating. This image seems like some elongated image, but when an object is kept near it, it looks normal. This is also an illusion. Leonardo's eye. This is a painting which he has done, which has this illusion. It is called as anamorphosis. We need to place an object, another object near that particular image so that it appears in its real form. This technique is used in several films, sculpture, photography, installation. So now we have seen the commonly occurring illusion. It is just a trick played on us by our brains. Moving on, I would like to call our grammarian, John, to give us the word of the day. Please give him a big round of applause.
Okay, fellow Toastmasters, as you can see well, it's in my top right-hand corner there, imagine, another sensory perception, imagine. So the definition of marriage is a transitive verb to form a mental image of something not present, like imagine accidents at every turn. So you're imagining. Suppose or guess, I imagine it will rain tomorrow. And to form a notion of without sufficient basis, imagines himself to be a charming conversationalist. That's what I think. So, and I'll just put there what a transitive verb is and what an intransitive verb is, but I think you probably all know that. So back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, John. Please give him a big round of applause. It's not an illusion. You are a great conversationist. I would like to call our first evaluator, Toastmaster Satya, to read out Teresa's project objectives. You're on mute. You have to unmute.
Good day, Toastmasters. Good evening,
The speaker today is attempting, Teresa is attempting the speech from Pathway Persuasive Influence, Level 1, Evaluation and Feedback. The title of the speech is "You're the Best," 5 to 7 minute speech. And the objective of the speech to present her speech on any topic that she may choose. All the best to the speaker. Back to Timothy.
Give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Satya. Again, give a big round of applause to DTM Teresa. You're the best. You're the best, DTM Teresa. You're on mute.
There are no limits, dear boy, and don't anyone ever tell you that there are. Know what you want, know what you truly want, and go for it. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, have you ever struggled with limiting beliefs syndrome? Perhaps you know someone who is. Limiting beliefs, as we all know, hold us back from achieving the life that we truly want. The life that we truly want is standing behind the limiting beliefs. When my son was around 4 years old, I opened a confidence building mind account, and I called it "You're the Best." Every time he did something, I deposited many "You're the Best" deposits. My son, in a few days, will turn 34. Over the years, I've deposited millions of "You're the Best" into his account. Last year, when he was going for his promotion, he got several "You're the Best." This month, his golf course was closing for the winter. We will soon have snow. And he plays golf to win. He is an avid golfer, and this tournament means a lot to him. Again, several "You're the Best" went into his account. Has this changed his life? Don't ask him, because he would laugh. But as a mom, I believed that I had a role to play, and that was to support my son 100%. And in tough and difficult times, he had access to this account and to retrieve all of those confidence building thoughts that he needed. How about you? Do you have a confidence building account? Do you have a place where you can go in and draw out the confidence that you need to achieve any goal that you desire? For 30 years, I taught young children. I opened hundreds of confidence building mind accounts. I wasn't a teacher to focus on mistakes. I disliked the red pen. And I know many colleagues who had a penchant for the red pen technique. I wanted my students to know that mistakes were just ways of learning, that it was an experience. They knew that it wasn't the right solution and that they had umpteen opportunities to find a better solution or to go on. How many times have you been told to focus on your weaknesses? In my life, I've spent 90% of my time trying to get better at something that just isn't me. How about you? Have you ever made a mistake? Don't see too many hands up. But if you have, and I know that all of us had, you are different from most people. You didn't sit down and say, that's it, I can't do it. You went ahead and did the best that you could in times that were difficult, in times that were challenging. And now today you are sharing your leadership and mentorship skills with your proteges. And I'm sure you're telling them, know what you truly want and go for it. You have the ability to do it. Perhaps you'll open a confidence building mind account for them. Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps said, there will be doubters, there will be difficult times, there will be obstacles, but with hard work, there are no obstacles. There are no limits. There are no limits, dear boy. And if you truly want something, show up, do your best, and keep running. Madam Toastmaster.
Please give a big round of applause to TTM Teresa. You're the best because you taught us to know our limit, know what we want, and know what we really want. And yes, I have done several mistakes too. Seems like we have a lot of time for our table topic masters TT session. Seems like everybody will get a topic today. Over to you, TTM Somesh.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Today we are going to imagine and think about things, about how illusion influences us. Imagination is something that sometimes might seem as illusion. For example, when Wright brothers thought about making an aeroplane, the people at that time would have thought it as an illusion, that they are having an imagination and they are just having some kind of illusory thoughts. But they actually did it. They actually did the first flight long time back. And now flights have become like a normal part of our lives. This is what imagination brings us to. Albert Einstein actually said that a logical thought can bring you from point A to point B. Imagination can lead you anywhere. So there are no boundaries. Imagination is limitless. Considering that, I wanted to share the screen and talk about some kind of, are you able to see the screen? Yes. Okay, so we will have the table topics. And if I do in the presentation mode, are you still able to see the presentation mode?
No, it's yeah, now okay.
You're able to see the presentation mode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you can see.
Okay. So how I have designed these slides is there is a quote on the left side, and there is an illusory or imaginative picture on the right side. I will ask about both the things to our participants here. Let me see, just a moment. I just want to put the screen in such a way that I can see more participants here. Right, so maybe I will go to John first. John, first of all, what do you see on the right side?
Which picture do you want me to see? Do you want me to see the lady?
The
or
one
do you-
on your right. When you look at the screen on your right, there is something.
All right.
What are you seeing there in that picture?
Three birds flying up to a little nest, and the other one is a lady's face.
Exactly. So we can see how our imagination can bring us to a state where we can see different things in the same picture. And this is amazing. So coming to the question now, your life is precious, value it and use it to find truth amidst the illusion. What are your thoughts on this, John? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Table Topics Master. I believe that all life is precious, not just your own. So I always believe that all life is precious, and nothing's an illusion. To be quite honest, you see pictures of places all across the world where wars are going on, and you think to yourself, is that an illusion, or is that really happening? When you think about all life is very precious, and I really believe that. And you can ask Fatima. It's like I found a bee, and I'm talking about lives of all animals. And the bee I could see was laying on its side. So I go and got some honey and put the bee with the honey. And I put him on one of our pots. And he seemed to get really better. Instead of laying on his side, he was fluttering his wings and thing. And then when I went out there to look later on, he wasn't there. So for about 2 days, I was in great. I saved a bee's life, okay, because I put water and honey, and I've done it before and they've flown away. But then I found him near another pot dead, which unfortunately, for the rest of the day, I was a little bit depressed, because for 2 days I'd actually thought that he'd survived, he'd flew away, and he was okay. So to me, life is precious, not just humans, animals as well. All types of life on this planet is precious, because if not, we would not be living on this planet. Because if you think of just bees, without bees, we'd have no food, because they're the biggest pollinators. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you very much, John. Great answer. I will share the screen again.
Somebody let Rosie in the room. I think she's trying to get in.
Yeah, Rosie is here. She joined Kathy.
Are you able to see anyone else wants to go for this topic? No, okay, I'll go to the next one. Are you seeing the screen? Are you
Yes,
seeing
we
the
can
next
see.
slide?
Yeah.
Okay, I will ask Kathy now, if you can please unmute yourself. Are you seeing that the things are moving there in the picture on the right side? Do you see it's moving?
It appears to be moving.
Yes, exactly. That's it. That's the illusion there. So there is a question now. An illusion shared by everyone becomes a reality. What are your thoughts on this? An illusion shared by everyone becomes a reality.
This is a very interesting quote. Oh, it disappeared now. An illusion shared by everyone becomes reality. I'm one of those people that chooses to or seeks to look at the world positively. But when we look at the media, at least where I live, frequently what you see is negativity. So we're fed a lot of negativity each day in our lives. So that could be our reality. But through what we've all been through over the last, 18 months, it'll be 2 years and a couple of months with COVID, we can seek to see what we see in the media. Is that reality or is that an illusion? But each of us can choose to either look at things negatively or positively. If we seek to find the goodness in our lives rather than the negativity, doesn't our world lighten up? We as leaders, I think with personal growth, we all seek to have more positivity, to be the leaders in our households and in our communities. So I see in our group a positivity everywhere I go. That's one of the things I love about this group. Even when we're having a rough day, we can seek to have our own reality be positive rather than what we see in our media, in the world around us. You can see the negativity or the positivity. So I create my own illusion of positivity. Thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Great answer. Thank you very much, Kathy. Anyone else wants to go for it? An illusion
Yeah,
shared
can
by
I
everyone
try?
becomes a reality. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, can I try?
Yes.
My heart was pounding in my chest when I heard that sound. I was sweating profusely. Good day, Toastmasters. I had woken up at 12 a.m. when I heard some sort of sound. I was extremely scared. From past 2 days, one of my cousins kept on telling me that she hears the sound of somebody pulling water from the well at exactly 12 a.m. But it seems that when she goes out, she cannot find anyone there. That sound appeared to me to be that of a well. I immediately went out, and to my surprise, there was nobody there. Just like me, two of my other cousins had also come there. We all believed that some spirit was pulling water using that pulley from the well when we were all sleeping in our home. We believed it because the others believed it. 3 days continuously, we heard this sound. Finally, we decided to tell our grandpa about this. My grandpa started laughing. He told that it was not the sound of the pulley of the well which we are hearing. It seems that every day in the night, he cleans his cycle, his beloved cycle. I don't know how the sound of well is related to the cycle, but just because one of my cousins actually told us that it was the sound of the well, we started believing that it is the sound of the well. This is one of the illusion which I experienced. Secondly, when I was in college, there was a teacher whom I thought was teaching pretty well, but everybody else hated her. They told she didn't teach well at all. When finally my opinion on her was also the same. Now, when I think about it, I feel extremely stupid because I actually liked her teaching. The third illusion which I've encountered is in the present day situation. 3 days back, I attended a wedding. Still, COVID is there, and not even a single person among the 300 guests who attended that wedding were wearing a mask. I think all of them were just living in an illusion that COVID has completely gone. Toastmasters, we really need to struggle to find the truth when other people are in illusion and they are trying to sway the mind, but always stand by your truth. Back to the TTM.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Great answer. Next one. Back to the sharing. And I would like to ask Fatima to just see this the screen. Are you seeing the screen?
Yeah.
And what do you see on the right?
I'm not too sure. He seems to be moving.
Yes,
on.
another illusion. It's the movement is quite interesting as well, like waves starting from the center. It's quite an interesting one. Okay, and then the question is, there is an optical illusion about every person we meet. This is said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. What are your thoughts on this? There is an optical illusion about every person we meet.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you see somebody, even on screen, you have that imaginary perception of people. Without knowing, we preconceived ideas about other people. If we see somebody who is very thin, and then we assume that person is not eating. But if we see someone who is large, then we assume that person is consuming lots of food. But ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the reasons we should try not to make judgments about other people. And here we are. I have never met any of you. From day one, we have formed relationships and not through perception. Even John, we were communicating online. And after 6 months of chatting, of course, my family, they didn't approve. You know, they always have these weird stories. He could be a bad guy. He could do things to you. But I flew all the way to meet him. And on the day itself, we got married. And here we are, after 11 years, still together, still fighting, still loving, and leading our life. Over to you. Thank you.
Great answer. Thank you very much. Amazing. A very good personal anecdote as well, which helps us to connect with you. That's great. Anyone else wanted to go for that question or that quote? There is an optical illusion about every person we meet. No, no one else. Okay. I'll go to the next. Who did not? Probably Liz, if that's okay. Are you there?
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Yes.
Okay.
See the picture on the right side of the screen, of your screen? Do you see it moving? All the dots and everything else?
No.
You don't see it moving. Okay. So you're not under illusion. Some people will see it moving there.
It looks beveled, but I can't see it actually moving.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. So the question, then there is this quote: "The distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion." This is by the great Albert Einstein himself. The distinction between the past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion.
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master. Wow, very profound indeed. I'm just thinking how to construct an answer to this one, and perhaps it's to think that sometimes we perceive what we've done in the past is where we are in the future. And of course, that is perhaps true. And we've all been at that junction of a road where we're stuck to say, shall I go here or shall I go there? Shall I buy the red car or should I buy the blue car? Should I be an astronaut or should I be a fireman? And all of these decisions constructed together takes us to where we are today. I don't believe we make the wrong decisions. I just feel that we take the decision and the choice we make at the time in our past, which has brought us to the future. And of course, everyone can talk about thank you, everyone can be in a position, or some people, sorry, get into a position where they're really hung up on the past. If only I'd done this, I wouldn't be here now. If only I'd done that, my life would be different. But in fact, we don't know. We don't know that had you ticked a number 6 instead of a number 5, you might have won the million on the lotto. We don't know that had you chose that red car, you wouldn't have got stopped by the police as many times as you did in your sporty black one. We don't know whether or not we became a fireman instead of an astronaut. We wouldn't have had a better life. So all of us now are the product of where we have come from and traveled through our journeys on them roads, as Covey says, less traveled perhaps. So to take us into a roundabout way, I think that the illusion is sometimes we feel we could have done better, but the reality is you cannot change the past, and be thankful and grateful for where we are right now. Thank you, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you very much. And thank you so much, John and Fatima, for doing the timing during that time. Thank you, much appreciated. We'll go for the last topic now. I think we're nearly ending. I've got lots and lots of topics, but time is the limitation here. Okay, are you seeing the screen again? This is a,
Yes, we can see.
okay, now I will probably ask Toastmaster Satya if you can unmute yourself and you can just say, what do you think about this circle in the center? Are both of them the same shape?
Thank you, DTM Samesh. Circle in the center, there are so many circles are there, 5, 6 circles are
yes,
there.
if you look
Center
at the,
is,
if you look at the circle which is there in the center, like
if
on the right side, there is a circle in the center, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 5 circles around
yes.
it. So if
To
you look
me,
at, yes.
yeah, sorry.
Yes, please,
Yeah.
please say if they're the same size. Do you think they're the same size?
No, the central one is a smaller one in comparison to the other 5 of them.
So if you compare the left figure and the right figure, you might feel that the right one, the central circle is smaller, and the left one, the central circle is bigger, but it's not.
Exactly.
The
It's
reason
not,
is
it?
because what they have done there is, because the other circles are larger around that in the right side, we feel that it is smaller. But actually, both of them are exactly the same size, the central circle. This is another optical illusion that we have. And a question and a quote for you. In a world where illusion is preferred to reality, the illusionists have the most control. In a world where illusion is preferred to reality, the illusionists have the most control. What are your thoughts?
Good day to you, Toastmasters. I'm certainly unable to comprehend what it talks about. 2 times illusion has come, so I let it go. What I want to say this evening is people, many of us typically always live in an illusion. We try and dream about what we want to achieve. But experts have said that you can do that. You can achieve what, if there are certain illusions or there are certain dreams in your life, you can certainly achieve them, provided you always have this, what you call as an auto suggestion. You go on telling yourself that one day or the other, you're going to achieve that. And this has happened in my life many times. Whatever I have aspired for, be it a car or a house or a good wife, whatever it is, I have been able to achieve or get that into my life. So the point is, whatever illusion you have in, or a dream you have in your life, you try and keep talking to yourself all the time, morning, evening, especially they say before going to bed, you have to talk about it, think about it, repeat. If necessary, you can repeat it aloud if nobody else around you. Also write down on a piece of paper, then you will achieve. Back to table topic master. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Satya, for such a nice answer. Before I conclude this session, I wanted to talk about one new thing that the Facebook founder, Mark Zuckerberg, recently initiated. He has called it Metaverse. It's called, and he's calling it shortly as Meta. And the concept behind that is everything will be based on virtual reality, and we'll have the 3D kind of reality. So instead of us going into the internet and trying to find out something, the internet is different and we are different. He wants to create a world where we will we will get merged into an imaginary reality where everything seems as real as the reality which we are in now. But this is where the whole modern technology is going. We are unfortunately we are just not in the present moment, and we are creating more and more illusions, and we are getting entangled in those illusions. So hopefully, even though this technology is helpful, I think we really need to be mindful of the fact that we don't get entangled in these illusions. We use it for the purpose for which it should be used, but we don't let it control us. So with that, I would like to hand over the gavel, virtual gavel, back to the Toastmaster of the meeting, Anrita.
Thank you so much, Somesh, for the gavel. Your illusions were just wonderful. Like, we're just mentioning about metaverse. I feel we are already over dependent on technology as of now. Without Zoom, without mobile phones, without internet, we cannot survive. In case if we really create that metaverse, then our life will be completely illusional. I can see our speaker, Ruziana, over here, but we don't have her evaluator. Can anyone please volunteer to be an evaluator for Rosie's speech? Connect with storytelling speech. Anyone? Kathy, you're on mute, Kathy. You're still on mute.
Well, I need to find the form. That's the problem. Hold on.
Okay. Rosie, can you please send your form to her? Yeah, Rosie is sending to you.
Well, the problem is if they send it on WhatsApp, I can never get in on that on Saturday morning.
How you want me to send it to
That's
you?
okay. Go ahead and I'll get it. Go ahead and you can go ahead and start.
Sure. You got the form, Kathy?
Did you send it on WhatsApp?
No, not yet.
No, I gotta find it. Yeah, I can't get into WhatsApp to be able to download the form, so that's the problem.
Can someone send it on the chat? Can you open the chat, Kathy, and get it?
I can, yeah.
Well, can I finish, TMOD?
On my desktop.
Meanwhile, can I finish my evaluation? I have a truly
sure.
very
Yeah, you
difficult
can go
internet
ahead.
connection.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
This is my third attempt to come online.
Okay.
Been even when the speaker was speaking, I had major problem.
Okay,
Should
sure.
I start?
Yeah.
Thank you, TM Modi. Congratulations to Teresa. Excellent speech. I really enjoyed it. My apologies. There was a huge connection problem. I missed out some of the sections, but I listened to your starting. The opening was very good, and it raised my curiosity. You have 4 years old son, and you tell him you are the best. So I like the entire flow of your speech, whatever I heard. The best part I heard about your speech, you said you are the best in the millions. So what a great motivational aspect that you have passed on to your son. He must be really greatly motivated at so young age of 4 years. Besides that, I also heard you say about the golf competition. He went to the golfing competition, and also he spoke about the Olympics swimmer Michael Phelps. So there were several obstacles, but you were able to get through. It was a very well connected story. The transitions were very well done right from the beginning to the end. There was a logical structure. So I also found your vocal variety and abundant gestures. You stood and spoke. That connected very well with what you were talking about. So all in all, I liked the entire speech very much. If I were to, my apologies again, if I were to say, if there is any room for improvement, is the conclusion. I thought there was no call for action for the audience. I had to assume, imagine that you're talking about, I have conveyed my all the best wishes to my son. So similarly, the audience is also to take this message that you also have to be thinking in the same lines, is what I thought you tried to convey in that. And barring these two, to summarize, excellent speech. You took us through your own life, personal story, life's journey. And also it was, the message was very concise, encouraging, and very, very valuable for the audience to take home and mull over it. You have to consider, analyze it, and then understand what you wanted to say. I hope I have done justice to whatever I have heard and conveyed to you. All the best to your future speeches. Teresa, congratulations.
Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Satya for his detailed evaluation. Does anyone else want to leave early, or can we go ahead with Rosie's speech? Anyone? Fatima John, are you okay to stay for some time? Okay, great. You're on mute, Fatima, sorry.
Sorry, yeah, we have another meeting. So
Do you want to give your report so that later
for a short while? Yeah, not too long, but say 15 minutes would be fine. Yeah.
Okay, then we'll go ahead with Rosie's speech. Okay. Okay, thank you. Kathy, you can read out Rosie's objectives. Where is Kathy? Yeah, you can read out her objectives. Kathy, can you read out Rosie's project objectives?
The purpose of this project is for the member to practice using a story within a speech or give a speech that is in a story format. That is our project for today.
Thank you, Kathy. I don't have your title, Rosie. What is your speech title?
Yeah, I still haven't got the title. Maybe, let's see, illusion of happiness, probably.
Okay. Please put your hands together to Rosie. Illusion of happiness. Illusion of happiness to Master Rosie.
Thank you. Okay, let me see the timer. Whoops. Okay. All right. I want to start by asking a question. What do you want in life? Mr. President, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and friends. Study shows that only 5% of people think of this question. And Albert Schweitzer, a Nobel Prize winner, once said, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful." So happiness first. So if you want to be rich, you have to be happy first. It's dangerous. Study also shows that if you are unhappy before you're rich or successful, you will even be more unhappy when you're rich and successful. So be careful. So in case you just got lucky and you be rich, but you have to be happy first, and then you reach, suddenly you reach, you'll be even more unhappy. So this is where I want to share you a story. If you think to be rich and make you happy, this story will help you to get the perspective right. And this is the story of Mo Gaudat. Anybody knows Mo Gaudat? No. So Mo Gaudat is the CEO of Google X. And he is a very bright person. After all, he's the CEO of Google X. So he must be somebody who's really smart. And how smart he is was that when his wife asked for a brand new car, he said, never mind, I just go to the stock market, and he traded. Within 3 days, he got a new car come out. That's how smart he is. And he said he found the formula to happiness. He's an engineer. And he said the equation is that happiness equals or greater than the way you see the event in your life and the expectation of how life should behave. And he also talks about the illusion that we were asked during the table topic, how funny it is. It's just tied up together. So imagine that happiness is actually what is our expectation met, and that is what happiness is all about. In short, happiness is events and the expectation met. And as smart as he is, he just couldn't be happy. He said he has everything: money, good job. At 29 years old, he was already a millionaire and running his company and the Google as a Google X CEO. But he said the more money he has, he just couldn't be happy. He didn't know why. He got 16 luxury cars. He said none of the cars can make him happy. And he then said that when you are driving, it doesn't matter what car you're driving. You have to concentrate on the road. And some of the car didn't even fit his personality. For example, he owns a Ferrari. The loud sound from the Ferrari didn't match his quiet personality. That's how unhappy he was. He was already a millionaire at 30 and unhappy. Until one day, the family was about to go for a vacation. Everything was in order. Then his beloved son, Ali, the son that taught him a lot about life, laughter, happiness, and his son suddenly got appendix that day, appendix attacks. And it was a simple fix. He's got no illness, no nothing before that. But unfortunately, that unfaithful day, his son passed away. And he asked, when his son died, he asked what can he do to bring him back. He even locked himself in the room for the rest. He said he can lock himself in the room for the rest of his life. It will not bring his son back. When you ask this, you'll have something to do rather than sitting in the corner and hoping to bring him back. That was he said. His son was everything to him, his mentor. He even said that his son was a mentor to him. It is totally unexpected at his prime that his son passed away at the age of 21.5 years, 21 years old. And that death was the most painful, but the most purposeful according to him. He said the millions of dollars he had couldn't save his son's life. After that, he took leave and sabbatical leave from Google as a CEO, Google X CEO. And for 17 days, he locked himself. And after that, he started a project uh, which he was actually planned with his son. And this project, after that 21 days, for 4.5 months, he wrote non-stop. And he came up with this book, Soft for Happy. And he said that his son wish it is that to heal the unhappiness by spreading happiness to all the world. So he went for his vision, which is get 1 million happy people. And now we came to vision as a 1billionhappy.com. That is to make 1 billion people happy. Then only that the project that he was planning with his son could be met. And actually, before his son died, the son told his daughter that he see that Ali was everywhere, smiling and helping people. So he also talked about illusion of happiness. It's actually, it's not the money. And this is actually what he thought. Life is what you gave it. And you have to find a reason, a purpose, intuition. And he said, we never really die. It's just physical being. We actually, it's just illusion of time. So what do you really want in our life? And we can say it and think about it. And we can find happiness in all the small things. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Please give Rosie a big round of applause. Finding happiness in small things. What a wonderful message. Our mind is just like a monkey mind. If it is given more, it just wants more and more. And you certainly inspired me to start stock trading, because that guy did training and he got a brand new car. Thanks for inspiring me, Rosie. Now I would like to hand it over to our general evaluator, Fatima. Please give her a big round of applause.
Thank you. Okay, so we have already Satya done his evaluation. So I'm not going to be go over like because due to time constraint, I will just jump into straight into evaluation, which is left only Kathy at the moment, who will be evaluating Rosie. Over to you.
Give her more time.
Yeah, do you need more time, Kathy, or are you okay to go ahead? Or would you like me to go over with Joan and come back to you?
I can go ahead and wing it.
Okay, thank you.
Over
Over to you.
much time. Rosie, I love your storytelling. The project on this was to give us a story, and you did a great job of that. Every time you speak, I see the improvement each time. You were very clear. You worked to get the audience engaged, which I really appreciated that. The gentleman that you were talking about mostly in the story, I would have liked to see you go a little deeper into that story. For example, you mentioned that he was the CEO of Google X. I have no idea. I know what Google is. I have no idea what Google X is, for example. If you had maybe gone a little bit more in depth in that. You told us quite a bit of stories about his life, but the transitions were a little bit broken up. So it almost seemed like it was different people you were talking about. We were talking about happiness, but most of what we were talking about was all the, I do realize your example was him about him being rich, but we saw all these different examples. They were broken up a little bit. You might work a little bit on those transitions, so it seemed a little bit more smooth as you're going through there. I think you did a really great job. Your eyes were darting around a little bit when you were during it, but you think you did a great job. We just need to work a little bit more on those transitions so it comes across a little bit more smoothly on the storyline. I do realize my evaluation is a little bit short because I didn't have a lot of time, but you did a great job, and I always look forward to your speeches. So just work a little bit on those transitions, and you're getting better and better each time. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Oh, my feedback on the two evaluators, Satya. I think Satya, in Toastmasters, we have a habit of looking and giving positive feedback. Of course, we talk about the sandwich method of giving the positive and then recommendations and finally the summation, which is positive. But as an advanced club, I think Lee has mentioned as well a few other senior, I would say senior Toastmasters. In advanced club, we should try to look at giving recommendations. And Satya, I think he was very much into giving the positive feedback, which he did. And his recommendation was at the call for action, which I think he asked to firm up and to give a more call for action, which is a little bit better. with Kathy, I think she straight jumped into recommendations. I like the way she did that. She gave Rosie looking at giving more in-depth information on the Google X. And also she mentioned about the broken and the smooth, the content as the story went on. There was a broken transition in between the content. I think that was really good. And Kathy did a good summation. I think that's how we should learn to do evaluations, give the feedback. And for me, this is the only platform. I have joined many public speaking forums, but Toastmasters is where we get the feedback, and maybe that's a recommendation for all of us. If we can look at giving recommendations. Of course, it's nice to be Toastmasters and to give positive feedback, but maybe look at some recommendations. Now, let me invite, moving on to the next technical report timer. Can I have the timing for the speakers tonight? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator. So the speakers tonight, we had our first speaker was Teresa with 6 minutes 37, and our second speaker, Rosie, with 7 minutes 39. Do you want me to go through the topics in that, just through the report? Yeah. So the topics tonight, the first one, let me see, John 2 minutes and 8, Kathy 2 minutes 1, Anvitha 2 minutes 27, Fatima 1:44, myself I think probably 2:49, and Sathya 1:29. And our evaluators this evening were, did I give Rosie's speech? Time, 7 minutes 39, can't remember, 7:39. Evaluator Kathy 1:47 and Sathya 2 minutes 35. All good. Topic session 23 minutes, and everything else. Anthea started off at 5 minutes 24 for her section, but otherwise we're 5 minutes behind at the minute, which is pretty good going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Timer, for the comprehensive timing report. Now I will ask all the reports to be brief and short, as we are already behind time. Now I shall hand over to the grammarian for his report.
Well, I didn't imagine that most people wouldn't have actually got Imagine. There wasn't many people, unfortunately. I've got, I think Satya got it once. I think Kathy, you actually used it. You may not have realized you used it, but I think you've used it. And Samesh used it, Imagination, a couple, well, 3 times. Samesh with the top. So if anybody else that I didn't get, I'm very sorry there. So I'm just going to be quite brief. There's quite a few words there that I enjoyed there. Penchant, I thought that was quite good. A liking for something, a tendency to do something. So I actually had to go on to Google to get the right pronunciation. See if I've got the right pronunciation. Penchant comes from French by the sounds of it. I love the confident building mind account. I thought that was really good. Confident building mind account. That stayed with me. One thing that I took out of your speech, that will stay with me, sort of thing. So that was very good. Imagining reality. So there's a few things there. Now we come to some improvements. And it's all down to Rosie. You have to be very careful with some of your English, especially singular or plural. Start by asking questions. Yeah, it should have been a question, not questions. Share you a story can be just share a story. You don't have to have the you in there. Okay. and somebody's got problems with their appendix, it's actually appendicitis. So you can, if you look up the word sort of thing. So there's some areas there you need to actually look at, Rosie. Okay, apart from that, everybody else was absolutely brilliant. So back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you. Now we have come to the R counter. I guess you will have a lot of counts for John. Over to you, Kathy.
Imagine a world without crutch words. We actually did relatively well on that. I understand. Look, I got one in right there. I think for prepared speeches, it's a little easier for most of us because we've had a little bit more preparation. But John, you had a couple of ums and ahs, just a few. It's a little harder in table topics because we're trying to stretch. And Liz, you had a little and so, and Rosie, we had some so's and ums, but other than that, we did pretty good job on here. So I would just have to imagine a crutch world. Yeah, I'm not sure I got him in, but I had to get one in before the end of it. Anyway, thank you, fellow Toastmasters.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, I would just have a few suggestions for the meeting. We started a bit late, 3 minutes past, and as you can see, we are behind. Okay, I don't want to go into details of all, but I would say suggest to Anvita, you're a very good speaker. As Toastmasters, we love speaking, but I would remind you, be mindful because your introduction was supposed to be less than 2 minutes, but you went on 8 minutes. I timed yourself. And the first part took until like 15 minutes before the first speaker went on. And I think table topics also, we had 7 table topic speakers tonight. Depending on that time, I think, Shomesh, we had a lovely table topic session. The slides were really excellent, and I think that's why we were into it. But again, be mindful because of the time. It's 1 hour. 7 speakers could be a little bit too much. If we want more time, maybe we can ask everybody here whether we could continue that way. You know, if we have general agreement between ourselves, then we can continue. I think basically that's that. And for speakers, I think, again, be prepared because we come as a group to listen to you, to learn from you, and please make time to prepare. And from each speaker, we learn something, like Teresa and Rosie, we learned something from you. But when you come here, when you don't know your topic, that's a bit, you know, for us, we are learning from each other. Maybe it will help us to grow together if we come here as a group who are prepared and ready to give each other. Those are my few words of advice to you as GE. Now I shall hand over to Toastmaster or Shomesh. Over to you. Amrita, okay, over to you. I'm sorry, I try to be the kind of GE who want to give some advice. So over to you. Thank you.
Please give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Fatima for doing her general evaluator role perfectly. I think that's the main role of general evaluator, to give advice. And as you said, we'll try to maintain the time from next time. Now I would like to hand it over to our president, DTM Somesh.
Thank you very much, everyone. We are 12 minutes over. We started 3 minutes late. We are 12 minutes over. That's all right. We learn from mistakes. I think we do make mistakes. I think in terms of the table topics itself, when we were ending it, I kind of asked privately to Anvita as well that we should ask if we want to have the second speech or not, because the whole table topic session was being conducted on the basis that we have only one speech in this meeting. That's okay. I think we learn from we learn from this. Hasn't happened before, so this is the first time it's happening. It's okay. We'll learn. So thank you all so much for your time. And again, as I started in the beginning, please remember that the clock is changing in this part of the world, going back by 1 hour tomorrow. So that would mean that the next meeting would be GMT instead of GMT plus 1. So that please do take care of that. So the hour will increase by 1 hour because the clock here is going back by 1. The time on your side will be plus 1 actually. So
Measures,
okay.
it's still 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. It's 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Yes, but
Right.
on the other side, other parts of the world, because
Yeah,
the clock
sure.
has gone back by 1 hour,
Yeah.
the other parts of the world will be
Yeah.
1 hour ahead in a way.
Sure.
So it's 10 o'clock for us, right?
10
Rosie?
o'clock,
Yeah. Yes, 10 o'clock. It'll be
Yes,
10
that's true.
o'clock from
That's
9
true.
to 10. Yeah.
We do fall back too, and I think it's coming this weekend as I think it's coming tomorrow. I think.
You're-
So we should
Okay.
be the same.
Yes,
I
tomorrow.
should, not Kathy.
In your place, is it?
I thought it was the
Yeah.
7th
Okay.
of November, America.
I'll check that.
Okay, then you'll also go back by 1 hour. Okay, okay,
Mine's the following week.
Yeah. 7th.
okay.
I think it's just it's 2 o'clock British time. Wherever you are in the world, it's 2 o'clock British time.
GMT. We use GMT. I think now it is GMT plus 1. So because the clock will go back by 1 hour, it will become GMT instead of GMT plus 1. That's the standard way
We're
of
all
doing it.
like everyone's in different time zones, so yeah, just think
So
of it.
GMT,
And they're changing as well. Amazing, it's amazing.
8 hours
Awesome.
difference.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
very much, everyone.
Sorry, everyone.
No
I
worries.
was late just now. I
No worries.
I lost my phone. I was got out. I went out to look for my phone because just now in the evening I went for cycling. I thought I dropped it. I tried to find my iPhone. I couldn't find it. I got my son to call me. It was on silent mode, and
Yeah, that makes it
No
hard.
worries at all. It's okay.
Yeah,
It
we
happens
don't-
to every one of us. It's at certain point of time, every one of us will go through these situations. So
Yeah.
don't worry at all.
Yeah, it's okay. Just a reminder to all of us, it happens, yeah, so we can learn from it.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, shall
Don't
we
feel
take
bad,
a-
Rosie, it's okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, Teresa,
Two.
I'm taking the
Okay.
Yeah.
sure.
1, 2, and 3. Yeah, got it.
She was doing hand. I love it. Okay, Rosie, how do you do that? That's one.
Like that.
Oh,
Never
I
met
think
this.
so.
I don't
Oh,
know.
that one. Okay, I'll take again.
Is it?
1,
How do you like this? Is
Two.
it? Like this?
and
Like this?
I love
yeah, like,
I don't know.
Wait,
Like
and
this?
this is only half a heart.
heart.
That's it.
1, 2, and Teresa, y'all.
Teresa, come on.
Yes, I come on.
Can you keep it like this again? Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. Done.
I still
It's
don't
an
know how.
interesting one.
Ah, there.
Losing the heart.
That's Malaysian.
Oh,
Yeah, Teresa, let's go on.
Oh, well,
We are off tomorrow is another meeting, 11 o'clock, half an hour, so, yeah.
No
Okay.
mastermind? Are we
Sorry?
doing a mastermind? No?
You guys carry on. We have another meeting to join. Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
See you. Bye
Take care.
bye. Next week. Yeah. Bye bye.
What mastermind are we talking about today? Oh, Teresa's
You want
gone.
to?
No,
Did
I
you want to
thought- I
talk about
thought-
something?
I'm not sure. Last time we were talking about
DTM, I think.
I think
DTM.
DTM,
I think the
right? Yeah.
speech that you gave about the happiness thing, I think it's quite an interesting one, really. It's quite profound.
Yeah, it's actually
uh,
he's so rich, and then he just couldn't find happiness, and then until the son died, and in fact the son before he died already told him about how he's going to share with the world how to be happy, and then he, as an engineer, find the equation, and that's the equation of the happiness that he shared.
It reminds me of the Big Bang Theory. On one of the episodes, Sheldon was trying to figure out a way, the formula for making people laugh. Like it was a formula specifically for that. Because engaging humor to me is like one of the scariest paths. I'll probably don't do that. But it's like it's one of those things I can usually get people to laugh just being goofy, but intentionally putting it in a speech to get people and get humor, to me that sounds really scary.
I agree with you. You know what? In here, back here, when I was in the bank, they tried to find a trainer, and they want the one that can engage humor. You know, the one that can create humor in the speech, and then they love it so much, and they based on that, not based on knowledge, based on the
Well,
fact that they can
the
make you laugh and something.
The reason why, and I'm actually reading a book, there's a comedian named Judy Carter, and we were talking about Darren LaCroix earlier before the meeting. He actually recommends this book on comedy, but I'm actually reading her book, The Message of You, that an accredited speaker had recommended to me. And the reason why they're looking for somebody who can engage, put that humor in there, is even though it might not be a humorous topic, if you can find some kind of engaging story, even if it's a technical type thing, that it helps your listeners remember more. Like, for example, say you had something that one of the examples she was, this is the chapter that I'm on right now. It was they had a woman who was like a CPA, and she was trying to build her business through speaking, and she took a story. When you take stories, like she was talking about a customer of hers that was a widow, and she built that story in there, and I guess they even went over some of the humorous things that happened along the way. But if you can add these stories to like a dry subject, it engages your audience more. It doesn't necessarily have to be humor, but by engaging those things, that actually people will remember it, and they actually enjoy those speakers more. It doesn't actually always have to be humor, but the actual storytelling topic, it actually helps engage people. It doesn't
What
have
book
to
is that again? What book is that again? I think that's
be called
interesting.
The Message of You by Judy Carter. I actually got it off
Judy Carter.
I
Judy
got it off
Carter.
Judy Carter, Carter. And she's actually a comedian, but basically if you're trying to become like a public speaker, it's talking about trying to find out, like if you're doing a keynote, like that's my next project in Toastmasters, finding out more about yourself and finding stories from your life. You can engage those and put them into your stories for like a keynote speech and things like that. So that's one of the reasons why I got that book. But one of my goals, long-term goals, is to become an accredited speaker. And by learning how to do these keynotes, I'm really digging into this whole keynote thing that I have to do for level 5. But
that's great.
It's already starting to come. Just this and another thing that I'm studying are really helping me, because I'm like, what do I have? And I know I'm doing the keynote for Toastmasters, so it's one level of it, but also as somebody who wants to be an accredited speaker later, building this one gives me some ideas for those future, because usually like a professional speaker is going to have a couple of different keynotes, so you need a lot of different levels. So finding those stories in your life, or stories like what you were talking about, those actually make and engage you. And one of the things Teresa did is finding a thread. She created a thread in her speech where she mentioned about the bank account. I forgot the exact name of it, but her bank.
I miss your speech, Teresa.
You're the best. You're the best.
But she had a thread where she repeated that in there. Confidence building. Sorry, it was a confidence building. But she brought in that thread during her speech, so it made you think about it. I'm not finding the exact words, but I know what she meant. But it keeps you engaged in there. I have a friend who's gone through. Her husband had to go and get a liver transplant, and she's also gone through cancer. And I think hers was break through instead of break down. So I can remember that because she repeated it 3 or 4 times. Coming up with these phrases like this throughout your speech. I'm sorry.
I agree with you. Is this like the Prime Minister of Australia? What's her name? It's keep on repeating. That's a very, very famous speech. That she kept on repeating the words, you know, like and you did again on this, and yet that was a very, very famous speech. I like to listen to that. I think I will get this book by Judy Carter.
If you forget that, just let me know and I'll get you the link to it. But I find it to be very interesting because you find stories from your life as you're going through it, and you also see why those are so important. And I'm really only on the first or second chapter, but I've really been enjoying it because Darren LaCroix, the gentleman I was talking about, he actually recommends her comedy book also, because trying to find things that get people to chuckle, even if it's a hard subject, it engages. It brings in that audience engagement that makes you memorable as a speaker. And even in the driest things, on technical things, if you can bring in a story about how that is relevant or that people can understand, it can make your training or things like that more engaging to your audience. Because, you know, when you get too many of those flip charts and statistics, people get kind of bored. But if you throw in a little, if you can find out some kind of humor, or even joke about the fact that there's a whole bunch of boring dry slides, it brings back the attention of your audience, because you know how you've all been through speeches where everybody's like, it's just more and more chart, and your boss is going blah 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 blah. But if you can find something that engages them, it kind of wakes up the audience and gets them back into it. So
that's why
I'm kind of hesitant to do the humorous pathways, because most of the speakers that I've heard doing humorous pathways, I don't see where the humor I don't see them using humor. And I think that's one thing that I do struggle with. I know I should probably do it, but as I say, and people aren't picking up on it. They're not saying, well, you didn't really do a humorous speech. And I mean, that to me, I think the whole thing should be about humor, right? I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's
I agree with you too, Teresa, on that, because I try to look at the engaged humor speeches, and I thought that, in fact, we can adopt all those humor into other pathways as well, because they say that you can either make humorous and things like that. And I also read this book, Laugh and Learn, and try to inject some humor, but I'm still learning. I think I better read that Judy Carter book.
Judy Carter also has a book specifically about humor, but because this accredited speaker had specifically mentioned this book, that's why I went ahead and got it. And I haven't, because Darren has also had suggested one of Judy Carter's other books. So I've only gotten this one so far, but I'm planning to get the other one. But
like I know that comedians usually fall on their face, right? They don't start out being funny, even if they're funny people. Sometimes they go in there.
Became a professional comedian, but he was not the least. That was what his goal was, and he was not the least bit funny. But if you go back and look at his speech, his contest speech that won him the world championship, it is hilarious. And he also talks about how frequently people, a lot of people give you feedback on your speeches, but you have to be judicious about which feedback will I use. And I've learned that just in the short time I've been in Toastmasters, that sometimes I will get feedback from people and I disagree with not about certain things, but sometimes I won't agree with the feedback that they've given me, and I'm going to bounce it, because here's the thing is like, I'm in stage time with Darren and Mark, and it's like, I'm going to listen to Darren and Mark's feedback before I'm in my Toastmasters club, because they do this professionally. But then again, Darren and Mark might not agree with each other. When I did my speech last year, one of the guys that gave me the best feedback I got was actually the comedian that's in their coaching team. And my speech was not funny at all. There was one little snippet of funny in the whole speech, but it was just one of those things because it was it was that incident about the fire ants last year that I did for my contest speech. But there was the only really humorous part was the part where my sister wanted me, what color shorts should I get? But it was one of those ones I didn't know how to add any funny to it. But one of the challenges to me in Toastmasters is of the 11 pathways, there's really only 3 that focus on speaking. I pretty much work for myself. If I'm working, I don't work for somebody else. So the leadership projects, I'm not a leader in any volunteer organization except in Toastmasters. That's kind of hard to do, the leadership projects.
I think it's still speaking though. It's just being strong in who you are. And that's what, not that you're going to go and be the president of the United States, but that would be good too, maybe.
Actually, what's really funny is I did have one of my friends talk about me going into politics. And I'm like, I do not have the least.
Yeah.
But I am going through the Engagement Academy right now, and it's very fascinating. We actually had a really good topic this past week about communities of color. And it was very fascinating. We don't have very many people of color in our group right now, whereas Corey, who used to be our president of my club, invited me to this. He works for the city of Wichita. But it was very interesting to get the perspective from the one. There was one woman of color in our class that I could tell. She was more obvious. But it was very interesting to get her perspective, but also the fact that I grew up in a part of the country where there weren't very many people of color. So all you ever saw was what was portrayed in the media and in movies and television. And that used to be very negative stereotypes. Fortunately, that is changing. So,
I think you have to have it in your heart, right? It's got to be something that's going to come from your heart that you want to, you sincerely want to make changes. I mean, getting into politics.
No, I just politics is not my thing, but getting involved and just learning more about what's going on in your community and things like that. Because here, because I'm sure just like other countries, I know Australia, I think, is having issues with this too. In our country, there's a lot of people fighting back because the president did these not mask mandates, but vaccine mandates for a lot of employers and stuff. But we're talking about even our medical workers, our police departments, our fire departments, etc. And these people are pushing back on that, but even our school boards here are getting political. And I'm like, usually we don't know what the political party is of this, things like the school board and things like that, but they're even getting that politicized to that smaller level. So it's just, it's interesting. My husband and I are both vaccinated because we chose to, but it's just like, you would think it would be common sense. I don't know how everybody else feels. I know how The Rock feels, but he's not here right now. but it just, it's interesting how politicized things like this get. I just don't want to get.
And Somesh, I have to leave.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's good discussion. Very good.
Very good. Thank you very much.
I have to look at my schedule with the time change as to whether I'm going to be here next week. So,
okay. Ours is November 7th too, Kathy. I just checked it. So we're the same as you.
Interesting how I was actually being in this club, I learned so much. I didn't realize that everybody else has it and that we all have it on different weeks and things like that. I still don't understand why we're still changing.
It was always Halloween here, so I don't know.
No, Halloween's obviously Sunday here, So
yeah, obviously, yeah.
And but is it getting cold there, Teresa?
No, well, some days, but we still have sun. It's going to snow pretty soon.
Yeah, we're getting a freeze alert. I think up in western Kansas, it will start getting some snow there. But my garden will no longer be producing that in the next couple of days. You guys have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Rosie, I'll get that evaluation as soon as I can. I'm having trouble with WhatsApp on my desktop, but I will get it scanned in and get it sent to you. If I can't get it on WhatsApp, I'll get your email address and send it to you that way. Okay?
Thank you so much, Kathy.
Good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.